There is this famous Chinese proverb and it goes by, the best time to have planted a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. In this video, I want to share my personal reflection on why I think it's so important to get started in the present and the three main benefits that I've seen from getting started. We all have passion projects. It might be something to do with starting a blog, it might be something about a YouTube channel, or it might be even so much simpler. Whatever it is, we all tend to have these side projects hidden away within us. We always find ways to justify why it's not the right thing to do or it's not the right time to do it. Hello, my name is Yath. I'm a final year medical student studying at UCL in London, and this is the channel that you've all been waiting for. On this channel, we are going to distill some insights on self-improvement, productivity, and life as a medical student. Each day, many of us put side projects and passion projects further and further into the future. Often the reasons we tell ourselves include, oh, I'm still learning, or I haven't got the confidence yet, or it might be I don't have the professional equipment, the time isn't right. And frankly, I've been doing exactly the same. I've been putting off this very YouTube channel for the best part of 5 years. I've been making reasons for almost 5 years as to why I can't start a YouTube channel, and quite frankly, they were all pretty crap reasons. There were nothing really was preventing me from getting started other than this fear complex I'd created for myself. In the book Do the Work by Steven Pressfield, he compares this fear complex to the idea of a resistive force, a physical force preventing us from doing things. Much like the activation energy in a chemical reaction, he says once we overcome the initial barrier, the initial resistive force, everything subsequently will just get so much easier. And I can't stress but say this is absolutely true. When I first started my newsletter, I was very anxious, very skeptical about how it's going to all pan out. I didn't think people would genuinely read it, or many people would care so much about it. However, when I got started, a few friends messaged me back saying, well done on getting started. However, there's these few bits that could be better, you could do this slightly differently. And I acted on all of those feedbacks, and now I'm super confident publishing these weekly posts. There's no barrier, there's no activation energy required. I can just sit down, write and publish. Secondly, the quality has got significantly better. And finally, I've seen that more and more people are joining me on this journey. I'm getting more people subscribing to my newsletter, and all of that is just really motivating, really encouraging for me to keep going. So let's now dive into the three main benefits of why it's so important to get started. The first benefit is this idea of a feedback loop. When you put yourself out there in the public domain, it is inevitable that people will judge, people will comment, and people will have opinions on what you are saying or what you are doing. That's just part and parcel of life. You may get a variety of comments. Some may be too critical, others may be very constructive, and some might be just very encouraging but not really formative in any way. Whatever it is, this kind of feedback allows you to propel and turbocharge your project into its next step. This kind of feedback loop is something that you would be completely missing out on if you were just waiting for the perfect moment or for the perfect iteration. The second benefit lies in the number of opportunities that can come with putting your work out there or having a side project. In essence, you create luck for yourself. The more you make and the more you share with the world, the more opportunities for people to find you, and therefore the more opportunities for people to want to collaborate with you, want to offer you certain opportunities, or even put you on a different platform, on a higher level of exposure. All of these things don't really come if you wait around. For example, when I first started a newsletter, I had no idea the types of people that I'd meet or I'd get to speak to as a result of the newsletter. However, through writing week in, week out over 3 months, I've been able to connect with so many like-minded peers, and peers that I'd previously thought I wouldn't be able to connect with because they were so out of my range in terms of their career, their attainment. Finally, the third benefit is somewhat personal, and I would say somewhat philosophical as well, in the sense that when you get started and put your work out there in the public, you get to find yourself, you get to discover yourself, and now you might not be able to initially discover this from just doing one thing, but when you do 10 different things, or when you do so many different things, you'll start to pick certain aspects from each thing that you do, and eventually you would realize, okay, so this is what works for me, this is what I'm interested in, and this is what can eventually hopefully provide some meaningful income or meaningful collaborative opportunities for me. Therefore, this is what I can pursue. All of these things cannot really materialize or exist without giving yourself even the opportunity to discover yourself. For example, with this very newsletter that I've created, I've been able to combine some of my other interests into it as well. So I've always been someone that's really interested in design. I've always enjoyed creating visually appealing designs. And when I started a newsletter, I said, okay, a lot of people have newsletters. How can I make mine a little bit different to those already existing? And the way I did that was by creating sort of digitally engaging visuals that matched with the content of the newsletter each week. And funnily enough, I got some really interesting feedback on this work, to the extent people ask, how do you make these? It's always really interesting what do you discover about yourself from just doing a plethora of different things. If you want a deeper understanding or want to find out more about why it's so important to get started, then I'll recommend 2 books for you. The first book is Do the Work by Steven Pressfield, and second book is Show Your Work by Austin Kleon. These 2 books are really popular, very well recommended, and both books have been so formative in my opinion when it comes to getting started. I'll end with this quote: "There is no greater agony than bearing an untold story within you." If you enjoyed this video, please do consider subscribing to my weekly newsletter where I share much of the same topics. We now have over 17 installments and over 200 people that subscribe for weekly updates. I share much of the same content in terms of self-improvement, productivity, and medicine. I also share one weekly quote that's really resonated with me and one weekly recommendation, ranging from books, apps, to tools that I use and various people that I follow. And finally, if you really enjoyed this video, please do consider subscribing. It helps me a ton. And also, if you really enjoyed it, do share this video with a friend or two. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.